We'll go live on Facebook. I'm going to put the title on here. Live. Pollock, right? Okay, there it is. Yep, perfect. Great. Okay, we're going to go live. Great, we'll get started here. Preparing to live stream. Got it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whether you're live with us on Zoom or on Facebook, or if you're watching this recording on YouTube later, we want to welcome you to our monthly Coffee with a Mega Zoom interview. A little bit of housekeeping on where you are. My name is Patrick Madigan. I'm here in Raleigh, Durham, in the metro area of North Carolina. And I'm the president of our local chapter of KW Young Professionals. And that's our division of Keller Williams Realty International, which is dedicated to developing the next generation of leaders, not just in real estate, but in the world. And so today, in our monthly interview series that we do with people who are living big businesses and even bigger lives, we have the pleasure to interview Vanessa Pollock out of the New York City metro area there in Northern Jersey. She has built an incredible business. And more importantly, it is built on a culture of charity, of giving, of generosity and serving. And so we're excited to dig in with her. We're going to talk business, mindset, her background, struggles, mistakes she's made. And we've got an hour together. So Vanessa, first off, thank you for your time today. We're really excited to have you.
Well, it's my absolute privilege and honor to be here. And the first thing I'll say is I am not a YP. So y'all can just consider me Aunt Vanessa. I'm not old enough. I am old enough to be some of your mom. But let's just stick with Aunt Vanessa, shall we?
Okay, fantastic. And so, yeah, on that note, if anyone's curious about what KW Young Professionals is, my short story is that I was with Keller Williams for 5 years as an individual agent and thought that I had learned how to do a transaction and I didn't need this company anymore, was my misconception. I was thinking about leaving, and that's when I found KWYP, and it surrounded me with a community of other people who were building big businesses and bigger lives. And it gave me permission to dream bigger of what I could have for myself. And so we all have heard the phrase that you are the average of the 5 people around you. Being involved in KW Young Professionals is how I met Vanessa when they launched a new chapter of KWYP in the New York City metro area. Vanessa was the keynote speaker, and I got to be her opener on a panel earlier in the day. And I was just blown away by her business. And Vanessa is the exact kind of person that YP has given me access to in our incredible open book company of Keller Williams. So if you're curious, whether you're with Keller Williams or not, about finding a community like this, go to kwYP.org. Probably the easiest website you'll go to today. It's $39 a month. It's literally one of the cheapest things you can buy with the highest ROI in a business like real estate. So check it out. If there's not a chapter nearby you, start one. It'll revolutionize your business. And with that said, I think that's enough preamble. Vanessa, we're going to dig right in.
Okay, but hold on.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
First of all, thank you for your leadership at KWYP. And thank you for taking action to create community for so many professionals, because we all have this basic need as humans for a sense of belonging and a sense of community. And that's so much of what I think Young Professionals provides, and especially at such a crucial time in business building years. And so just thank you for being the leader that you are within the organization, because we need you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's too kind. For me, it's easy. I just want more people to have the same transformation that I've had in my business and in my life. So I'm excited to give back and to lead. And also on that note too, KWYP used to have an age cap of 40. And now actually anyone's able to join. So we have the one and only James Shaw is a member of our chapter here in the Triangle.
Wait, so I can be a YP?
You can be a part of YP.
That's what I meant, because I'm
the only caveat is that you're not allowed to be a leader. Every chapter has 10 leadership positions. We do reserve those for people under 40 because we do want to develop the next generation of leaders. But no, I mean, the community, the local chapter events, and like when we go to MegaCamp, one of our 2 annual conferences next week, which I'll be at, we always have specific young professionals events that no one else has access to. Usually people like Jason Abrams, Mark King are speakers, keynote speakers at those breakout sessions. This year, we have some of those folks, in addition to the one and only Gary Keller, will be speaking directly to our group. And so Gary and the leadership at KWRI knows that YP is where the future of the company will be led from. And so, I mean, if you want to be in the room, I encourage you guys to come join for 1 month, come to MegaCamp, check it out, and then leave if you don't want to keep your membership going. So again, enough preamble. Vanessa, you're too kind. Thank you for that reflective praise there. I appreciate that. Often when we do these interviews, someone like you who has sold over 500 million in real estate, it can be a little detached for our young professionals to see themselves in your shoes and like, oh man, I could never be there. You know what it's like to have limiting beliefs in your life. So I'm going to jump right in. We're going to skip all your preamble and we're going to go straight to, if you were to start your business over today as a young professional in this market, with knowing all that you've known and the different companies you've been with and all the technology we have today, how would you build a business today if you were in our shoes as a young professional?
Well, the first thing I would do is I would go back and tell myself, don't take the bait in terms of what society tells you is successful. When I think we are doing a better job now, but within our industry, we tend to attach success to production. And I've been dismantling that in myself for a long time now, because it's you have to be a producer in order to give back and have the impact that you want to have in your community and for your clients. And yet I would detach self-worth and a sense of purpose or belonging and being enough. I would detach that from the metrics, as important as the numbers are. I wouldn't put my value in that. And I think the other thing I'd go back, I would tell my early self that the most important thing I could do, especially within this industry, but now really within the digital age, is to ruthlessly eliminate hustle and hurry from my day-to-day as a human being who wants to have a holistic, sustainable pace of life where I'm present to my spouse, to my children, to my colleagues, to my clients. And so what could I do to set up systems and service long-term that would allow me to step away from the grind and the hustle pace and into a sustainable pace where there's breathing room to pivot where I'm most needed in any given moment and on any given day, and be really present to the now rather than the future casted goal setting. Goals are important, and making sure that I'd created a rhythm that allowed for more space and more margin along the way. I don't know if that's what you were looking for, but that's truly what I would go back to 2004 and tell Vanessa.
It is what I'm looking for, because what I'm looking for is the honest answer. It's not that you would sign up for Zillow leads or you would do some fancy tool or software to build a new business in today's age. It sounds like what you would do if you were starting over is you would get your mindset right from the beginning.
Yeah. And go ahead.
What I heard in your answer is someone who, just like me and just like many of us, has gotten caught up in the rat race of real estate.
Yes.
Even in a very healthy, I would say, company like Keller Williams, it's so easy to look at the people years ahead of you or millions of dollars ahead of you in real estate sales and to be down on yourself and to compare yourself. And like you said, take your self-worth from that. And I love the bold law that goes be, do, have, because it starts with who you are as a human being. It's not what you do as a realtor or as a business owner that makes you who you are. It's a part of your identity, but it's who you are first and foremost. So yeah, that detaching yourself from the production. And then it sounds like just having a healthy lifestyle, having margin, healthy rhythms, prioritizing yourself rather than your business, which many of us in this, if you've been in this business long enough, you've realized it will suck every second from your life that you allow it to take, and then some. So let's talk about that. What does health mean to you? I've heard you talk about your journey with alcohol. I've heard you talk about other things. Tell me what your health journey has been like. It could be physical health, mental health, emotional. Just how do you interpret that as a realtor now, 20 some years into your career?
Yeah, well, they're all intertwined. It's all of it. And yeah, my oldest child is 19. They turned 20 in December, and I got my license right before their first birthday. And so for me, I look at my real estate career in terms of the height of my kid and the age of my oldest child. And That's how, so yeah, we're looking at 19 years. And the first 7 years, I was a single agent. So I want to just kind of let everybody know, if you're a single agent, I feel you, and I know how challenging that is, and I know what that feels like on a 24/7 kind of basis. For me, when I was first starting out, the burning the candle at both ends was an inevitability. Now, y'all, we didn't have smartphones yet. I was operating like on a Palm Pilot and racing home to check email. Like, it was a different way of doing real estate. We were lead generating on Craigslist. We were like, it was a whole, I was like a big deal that I had my own website, right? So I am aging myself, and which is why I joke that I'm Aunt Vanessa, because I will be 50 at my next birthday. But during that season, I took the bait in terms of, I've got to be ever present to every need, every moment, 24/7, answer every call, do all the things. And I think in our society today, there's this interesting thing, and I can only speak from a female point of view right now, but there's this idea of, yes, you can have the career, but you also have to do everything in every other facet of your life too. So you have to be the best at all the things. And I just took the bait on all of that and was like, well, I have to do it all. And so I fell out of health because of that. I fell into patterns of victim mindset of, I'm taking care of everyone around me, I'm taking care of my clients, my kids, my spouse, all the things, so I need to take care of me. And for me, through that early season, I justified like opening a bottle of wine at the end of the night as, well, this is what I get to do for me. And it turned into a really unhealthy pattern that, after taking Quantum Leap for the first time, I had joined Keller Williams. I'd been with the company less than a year. My mind was blown by the fact that I shouldn't be a single agent. I should probably have a team if I wanted to have leverage and ever take a day off and have any kind of balance. I knew I was spiraling a little bit out of control. Took Quantum Leap, and within 3 weeks realized that the healthiest thing I could do, physically, mentally, and emotionally, to answer your question, was to get right in terms of leading myself when it came to that addiction. And so July 23rd, 2012 was the last time I touched alcohol, and putting that down allowed me to go then on the journey of really being able to think clearly with the end in mind about my business, think clearly about what I wanted our business to stand for, who I wanted to be. You said be, do, have, like, who am I? I want to be Vanessa. What does that look like? And so that was the first thing that I needed to do. And so now, I mean, you just probably did the math. That's 11 years of this journey, of clarity. And the continuation of that health journey has then just been understanding how I fuel my physical body to be at its best out in the world, because it's the only one I got. And I only get to forward my mission as long as my body's alive. So I should take care of it. So then it became, also a journey of, eliminating, it sounds terrible, but it's just wonderful and disciplined for me that I don't eat carbohydrates and I don't eat sugar and I'm gluten-free and I don't drink and I don't smoke. And I'm like so straight edge. But it's the most freeing thing on the face of the planet for me, because now I know without hesitation I've attended to my physical well-being. And then there's weight training and yoga on top of that. And ladies, when you get to a certain age, you've got to add the weight training in. I don't want to, but I know that that's what's necessary. And then the mental piece of it So we talk physical, mental, is that constant mindset kind of, what are you doing in terms of daily routines to get your mindset right? And whether that be podcasts or teachings or books. And like you said, the people that you surround yourself with, right? And my mindset is improved by having my morning Zoom huddle with my team every day, where we're all in such alignment with our mission. We can share our failures, share our wins, encourage each other, and kind of set our mind for the day. And that makes all the difference for me. So there's a lot of layers to all the health. For me, it's all of it. It's so holistic. I want to be healthy whatever hour of the day you call me or text me, you're going to get the same me. And that's really an important part of it, that I want to be fully myself, fully present every hour of the day.
There are so many things I could hit on in there. You drop so many like nuggets of wisdom that we could parse out. And I think two of the things I want to cue in on are the word clarity that you used in relationship to alcohol. I think is interesting because I have to shout out KW Clarity. Keller Williams Clarity is one of our newest communities. And for many of us in this industry, I never felt like I had an alcohol problem, but I just felt like I had alcohol. I mean, now it's referred to as alcohol use disorder. And that's much more easy for me to say, yeah, I was using it in a way that wasn't orderly for me. It was even 2 to 3 drinks a day or feeling like that, even if I just felt like I needed to have one. Got to the point where I'm, during Bold a few weeks ago with Dusty Oglesby, I decided, this is something that's just not adding to my life. There's nothing inherently wrong or evil about alcohol. And yet the way my relationship to it was holding me back. So I think in about a week, I'll be 3 months alcohol free and it feels great. It's not some utopia. I've done 75 hard and I've done, sober January, things like that, or dry January. So this one, it doesn't feel any like revolutionary, but it just feels like there's this clarity. And so I just really want to encourage anyone here or anyone that may feel shameful around this topic, like please reach out to KW Clarity. I'm not a member yet myself. I should look into it. And it's a confidential community within Keller Williams for anyone who wants to be around other people who are also growing in this area of their business. In the same way that Young Professionals is geared toward this and sports and entertainment is geared toward this area of growth. If that's something you want to grow in, just Google KW Clarity. I just pulled it up myself. Are you involved in that, Vanessa, or do you know the folks over there at KW Clarity?
I'm in the Facebook group, and I love to see what the group is doing. And they've got a sober soiree happening on Monday at Mega Camp. So anybody who's traveling and wants to be with that community and be a part of that gathering, I know that they would love to have you. And so
I'll have to check it out, and I'm sure they'll have a booth in the exhibit hall, so I'll swing by and meet them and check that out. And I think it's just so fascinating because this industry does attract someone who likes to work on the go. They're often very social, very energetic, like myself, and you can really build a large business off being social with alcohol involved. And so for me, I had a real fear of losing not just like that little aspect of my personality or the funness, which ironically, now that I'm off alcohol, I feel like has been increased. I kind of back to my old self in a way, but also I was worried, man, am I going to be able to, what if I don't have a beer with clients? What if I, for example, every year at Mega Camp, I host an agent mixer, and it's an open bar for my referral partners around the country with 2 other agents. So we'll do that Monday night. And this will be my 2nd year in a row, not drinking at my own party. And so if anyone's worried about that, don't worry about it. Just take the jump or just try it. You can always go back if you want to. So the other thing that you really cued in on, I think, was that feminine aspect of being a realtor and the expectations that are put on you. Have you seen the new Barbie movie that's out?
Oh my gosh, yes. Thank God that movie was made.
It really hit me. It kind of opened my eyes, as silly as a, corporate toy, media machine that it is. I think it's genius the way they snuck in this message. I have America Ferrera's soliloquy pulled up. I'm going to read a little excerpt here talking about what it's like to be a woman in this society. And the soliloquy, part of it says, you have to have money, but you can't ask for money because that's crass. You have to be a boss, but you can't be mean. You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. You're supposed to love being a mother, but don't talk about your kids all the damn time. You have to be a career woman, but also always looking out for other people. And so that movie, as silly mass entertainment as it is, was really helpful for me to just be more aware and empathetic to the struggles that are placed on other people in our society. And so for you as a woman that balances all these things, I'm just curious what your journey has looked like from the single agent with a young kid at the beginning of your career to then shifting, because I'm currently in this shift as a leader myself,
Yeah.
away from being the realtor that does the transaction to learning, man, how the hell do I grow myself to where I can lead other people under me, some of whom are on this call right now. So I would just love, just maybe riff on that. What is leadership? What is your transformation as your role in society and in your business? How has that changed over the years?
Yeah, I love that you read part of her monologue because I think I'm not alone that it spoke to me, and I wish I had written it. I don't know that I could have been that authentic and vulnerable. I am around a lot of things, but I don't know that I would have actually said those things. But now that she said them, there's a whole, community saying, yeah, that's exactly it. That is exactly how I feel. Again, we just live in such a fascinating time where, again, we didn't have smartphones when I was starting. So not only are we growing businesses as leaders, we're also trying to figure out how to integrate our digital profiles and our relationship with social media and media while parenting, while growing a business, while there's so much to process as humans right now, male or female, right? And so I think I read that we process more information in one day than a person living in the 1600s processed in their entire life. So, and to me, no wonder we're on overload. No wonder we are feeling overwhelmed, right? And so I think the leadership journey, again, was me wanting to make a difference and but not really knowing how to do that. So going on a growth path of reading books and being learning based and going to as many things that I possibly could go on, and then giving myself permission to just implement one thing at a time, although I wanted to do all of them. And that's after trying to do all of them, and that doesn't work. And in tandem, as you're growing yourself and you're growing your business, if you're a parent, you're also growing children. You're wanting to raise up your children. And Gary just said recently at the leadership class that he teaches, and y'all, the Leadership Academy that he now does out of Austin is the best leadership class in the company, in my opinion. There were 100 people in the room with Gary for a day and a half. It was incredible. But he spent almost as much time talking about parenting as he did about his own leadership and leadership of the company, and how we're to grow people, our children, to be able to navigate the world and succeed in the world. And so how are we helping them with decision making? And how are we helping them be lovers of learning? And all the things that we're doing ourselves and then doing for our team through KW, are we applying that to our kids? And so I didn't do a great job of that with my first at all, because it came across too much as self-help. I would learn something and then take it back to the family and say it the exact same way, and that does not work. And it was funny because Gary even just said in the class, he was like, do not walk in the door and talk to your kids the same way you talk to your agents. Big fail, big fail. And I was like, okay, well, there's one of the many ways I've failed forward over the years. So it didn't work great with the first, and my oldest is crushing it. I will say, they're a working musician. They live in Los Angeles and are on tour, and they're, as flawed as the upbringing was, I'm so proud of everything that they're able to accomplish out in the world. But then I have two more younger kids. I have a 12 and a 14-year-old as well. And I was able, through my leadership journey, to then internalize and customize it for young people, real young people. Y'all are the up to 40, but the middle school and high school. And that's been an important part of the journey, where I looked at what didn't work well with the first one, and am willing to change the way I show up for my kids based on who they are and based on what they need and based on the state of the world. Because raising one kid in middle school before the pandemic is different than raising another kid in middle school after the pandemic. So giving yourself permission to change the way you run your business, change the way you run your household. Again, give yourself permission to always be evolving and changing. So I think that's the leadership journey, right? And Gary says leadership is teaching people to think so that they get what they want when they want it. And so how we help people think it is the challenge and the journey, and none of us are going to be perfect at it. So also giving ourselves permission to not be perfect.
I love what you said about always be evolving, because there really is no one answer that can work for everyone. And it's what do you want? And I've heard you say on other podcasts too, you know, what brings you joy, what lights you up, and following that. And in your leadership journey, another bold law that I have written up here on my board right now is that my business grows to the extent that I do. And so if I need to grow in my parenting skills, or if I need to grow in my lead generation, those are the kind of things that I just need to focus on what's in front of you. You know, if it's a hang up with alcohol, that's what you need to work on. And that's going to change your business, even if you don't think it may. So we're halfway through our hour here together. We've talked a lot about mindsets, lifestyle, leadership. I want to get a little tactical on your business. You guys have clearly sold a crap ton of houses. Tell me what your lead generation looks like. Tell me about this charitable model that you run. Just riff a little bit on how you're building your business and how someone else who's passionate in the same ways you are, how they can implement that in their businesses.
Thrilled to. I wore my t-shirt for you. If you're on camera and you can see, it says care, serve, give. This is our business model. And here, in a nutshell, I hate sales. I realized through my journey that I don't like sales, and I have a really hard time asking for business. So I needed to create a business model where lead gen never felt like lead gen, and it never felt like sales. And so I had to go back and really think about what is our mission. And it's to be a light in what is often a dark industry, and to always put service before sales. And because when you put people first, success follows. And so for us, our business model is based on coming from contribution. And the care, serve, give model is this. Y'all have maybe heard of the 1-3-5 or the GPS? Yeah. Okay. So 1 goal, 3 priorities, and 5 strategies. So within the care, serve, give model, this is the holistic look of how to run your business. You write down the purpose of your business and your goal as your 1. Your 3 priorities are care, service, and generosity, or care, serve, give. And then your 5 strategies are the 5 most important people group in your life. Under care itself, your family, your team, your clients, and your community. And then you map out, maybe you've heard of the one thing that you should do in each of those categories. So for self-care, what's the one thing you're going to focus on? For me, my sobriety. Under care of family, what's the one thing I can do to let my family know I care about them? Well, I'm going to put my phone down and have family dinner every single night and have that dedicated time with my kids. What's the one thing I can do to show care to my team, right? And you just unpack it all the way, team, your clients, and your community. That shows up for service as well, right? Where do you take your gifts and talents that your creator has given you, and where do you serve? How do you serve in that way? And where does your family serve? How do you serve as a servant leader, your team? How do you serve your clients? Not sales, but serve them, right? And that's the actual real estate part. And then where do you, as a company, go serve out in your community? But then to answer your question, the model for the give portion of this, I believe you can do 5 things in your business and it will grow you to 100 million production team. And again, don't attach yourself to that as the outcome, but just know that the results are proof in my business. When I put this model into place, we went from 20 something million to 122 million last year, right? So this is the give portion of it. Number one, give to KW Cares. That's where you yourself can give, make it on production. Just help us to take care of each other. By the way, Hawaii, we have 50 agents in Hawaii who've lost everything in the last couple of days from those fires. So we got to figure out how to take care of them. And KW Cares is already doing stuff. So give to KW Cares. Number two, tithe. Tithe to your house of worship. Your family can make a difference by tithing and saying, you know what, I'm gonna honor that I have a creator, and I'm gonna honor my creator in this way. What I love about KW is our incredibly inclusive and diversity of world faiths in our company. Nobody's gonna tell anyone what to believe. It's just, if you look at the values of KW on the website, it says God, family, business, right? It's just prioritization, right? That you put your faith first, and then your family, then you get to the business. Because y'all, in the beginning, I was like booze, business, babies. Like my priorities were way off. So it's just about how are you prioritizing things. And by tithing, you put your treasure where your heart is in terms of your faith, and it's miraculous what starts to happen. So KW Cares and tithing, put that aside. Now here's the business model. Here's the business piece of the model. You can really only do this if you do the first two, because you're not going to want to feel inauthentic, and you're not going to want to feel like you're only doing something in your business, but you're not living it out in private as well. So take care of those first two. And then you're going to create a marketing plan around events. Everything is an event where you build relationships with your community, your past clients, and your sphere. And every event has some sort of charitable giving, right? So we're going to have our annual movie night. Everybody gets to come to the movie night. They see a movie for free, popcorn and candy for free. All we ask them to do is bring a bag of non-perishable food to donate to the local food bank, right? So there's movie night. You can have a Valentine's dance, and everybody's making a donation to a local homeless shelter, right? And they're bringing clothes. We have had these annual events that are now traditions for our past clients, for our sphere, for our community, where we're creating memories, where we come together, we create a sense of belonging. People feel like they're a part of the mission to make a difference in the community through our events. And we get to stay in touch with them. And when we call, it's to invite them to an event that they want to come to and has nothing to do with real estate. And then they ask, oh, how's the market, right? So that's first. Second thing that we do is, instead of giving closing gifts, like, well, certainly not a bottle of wine from me, but a cutting board or a chopping knife or something like that, we make a donation to our client's charity of choice. We call it Closing for a Cause. And it's just a way to spark a conversation about generosity in a family, because kids who grow up around generous adults who talk about giving back grow up to serve and give back in their community at a higher rate. And so we thought, wouldn't it be cool if our model not only included the events where kids are showing up and giving back, but then when they work with our team, they say, hey, Vanessa wants to make a donation to the charity that we're most passionate about. Hey kids, where do you want her to give back? And strike that conversation up. It's a cool thing for them also to feel like what breaks their heart is being acknowledged. So that's the second piece to the model. And the third and last piece really comes from, I heard Gary say at a mastermind years ago, have your own charity. He said, everyone should have their own charity or foundation. The first reason is because when you are able to hardwire generosity and giving back into your business and direct it towards the thing that breaks your heart, it is going to give you a wellspring of energy and a sense of purpose and keep you going through the down markets and the hard times and the difficult negotiations. And it really is going to be a buoy for your soul through what is such a challenging industry. And so we founded the Vanessa Pollock Music Initiative. We're going into our 9th school year, where we provide band and orchestra instruments to every child in our entire school district who couldn't afford to rent them otherwise, because are really, like, our family values include inclusivity and hospitality, and equity. And so we wanted to be sure that every kid in our school district could have music education. So having a charity of your own that then you can invite people to your annual event, again, does a lot of the same as the events that you'll use for marketing, but this one particular event every year gets to be yours, for you, and the thing that breaks your heart. And then everyone knows what you stand for and what is important to you. And for us, my husband was a Broadway actor for 20 years and is still getting pulled into shows, even though he's on the team too. But so music is a priority for us, and it was inspired by our oldest child, who is a prodigious musician from a young age, and now a working touring musician. So like it's a part of our family's DNA, and for us to be able to give back in that way was really important. But those 3 things hardwired into a business, there is no other real lead gen, right? In terms of staying in touch with our clients and staying in touch with our community, and being in relationship and letting the town really know who we are and what we stand for. And of course, our social media presence is going to be about how we stage properties and how great our marketing is, and that we are crushing it for our clients' real estate needs. That's the 80% people want to see, but the 20% that they feel from those 3 things, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And this way of doing business really helps them feel that. So you couple that with excellent service, and to me, it's a no-brainer of a business model.
I mean, if you're already a great expert realtor, which any of us here can learn the skills to be a good realtor, a good agent, right? You can't teach someone how to be a good person, but you can teach someone how to run comps, how to market a property, how to negotiate. So if you're already the great realtor and your clients know that, and then they're picking amongst all the amazing realtors that they may know in the New Jersey, New York City metro area, and then they find out, oh, this one has created her own foundation, and I'm going to get a closing gift that I get to pick where it's donated. And every event that I go to throughout the year is going to be giving back to a local charity of some sort. Like, that's a no-brainer. Or if for some reason they don't choose to work with you, at least they're very clear on what they're not working with, right? They know exactly what your identity is, which I love. A few questions on that. Number 4 was giving the closing gift to the charity of their choice. Just to get a little logistical on that, I'm sure there could be some choices that would either be controversial or ones that you don't agree with. So do you give them a pre-approved list of charities or of topics, like, for example, no political donations or something like that? How do you navigate that?
Great question, and probably my most frequently asked question, followed by how much to give. So I created closingforacause.org 7 or 8 years ago. And y'all, the site it's up, but it doesn't work right now because we're doing a whole big refresh soon. And so just know that I know it's in flux, but the homepage of closingforacause.org, I curated just a list of broad strokes, big charities to spark people's conversation. Because what I found early on is people said, I don't know what charity to pick. We don't even know where to start. So I wanted to kind of give them a menu to launch from. But I put on there that if you want us to donate to something locally, we absolutely will. Now, I have promised to make a donation to my client's charity of choice, and I am a woman of my word. So if someone names an organization that I am morally conflicted about or isn't in alignment with my personal viewpoint, I'm still going to make a donation. It's probably going to be for $1, right? Probably going to be for $1 versus the 100, 500,000 or 10,000. depending on all the rest of the factors that come into play. So I would just encourage everyone to be people of your word. If you say you're going to give where it's important to your client, they don't know how much you're donating. And it's why I don't ever disclose it ever, because for some people, I want to keep my word, but I don't want to really feel like I've funded that organization. Whereas other times, we had years ago a 3-sale domino effect, and they all chose the same organization. And I was already very passionate about that organization. So it was like a massive donation, and I was thrilled to do it. But we don't publicize whether it's $1 or $10,000 for that reason, if that makes sense.
That makes complete sense. Yeah. And then I would love to hear about you creating a foundation. Like, that seems super intimidating to me. How do you go about that? What does that look like? What can you share with some agents who may be interested in doing something like that?
No, I think it's a really important question. So what I realized was that it's very hard to start your own 501c3, and you have to have your own board and the finances and all of that. So I went to a local nonprofit education foundation for my school district. And I said, would you allow me to raise money for your organization? And can I have my own sub chapter under your umbrella and call it the Vanessa Pollock Music Initiative, where all of the funds are earmarked for what our goals are, but it runs through your board, your financing, et cetera, literally making them my leverage. And they said yes, because as a nonprofit, they were thrilled that we would be raising awareness of their foundation as we fundraised for ours. So knowing that that's a bit tricky, I am helping to shape this give model that I talked about, all of the leverage elements needed to be able to execute it at a really high level through Livian, which is the Keller Williams owned company that I'm a part of. So what I'm doing currently is working to create an umbrella nonprofit for our Livian partners, so that every single person in Livian who wants to start their own can just plug into that 501c3 umbrella organization and launch their own charity, if you will, just like I did here locally with Livian as their nonprofit leverage. So that's an exciting project I'm working on right now.
That makes a lot of sense. And it's similar to us being real estate agents who want to get into business, but we don't want the overhead of running our own brokerage. So we affiliate with Keller Williams.
That's right.
Similarly, you affiliated with a local nonprofit. So you're giving up a little bit of the control of the board and all that, and things could happen that could be out of your control. And yet the convenience for you in this instance was worth it. And I love it. Here you go again, creating more opportunities generously for others to do that within Livian. So I encourage anyone on this call to reach out to Vanessa with questions and, on how, if you could do something like this in your own local area as well. And I imagine there's a lot of due diligence you did, Vanessa, on the 501c3 that you affiliated with, to make sure it was a board and systems and procedures that you agreed with and that you could feel confident moving forward long-term. Looking here, I'm going to check our chat to see if we have any questions for you. And if anyone wants to, they can put them in the chat here. Spencer Dahl from Idaho says he loves this business model. It speaks directly to his soul. Chantel Lee says this is great advice. So you're definitely connecting with folks. I'm going to check our Facebook over here, see if we have any questions in the chat. Not yet. So we've got some more time here that we can dig into some more items. Tell us about this Livian that you mentioned. I know that in Keller Williams, this the team within a team, the subscription services, these platforms are very popular. And so for anyone who's not familiar, a previous iteration of this expansion looked like, okay, the Vanessa Pollock group they've kind of maybe hit their saturation in New York City, New Jersey area. Now they want to open a new team in Philadelphia. And so they would go and actually place boots on the ground there. And that expansion model has recently been not necessarily replaced, but a more popular version of that is this platform model, where someone like Livian or other services will create the software and the coaching, and then they'll empower agents to run their own businesses under that umbrella, similar to the way Keller Williams does it. So how does that work? How'd you pick Livian? Tell us about that. Without, we're not selling for Livian in comparison to others. And yet, it's something you're passionate about and it has grown your business. So we would love to hear what that looks like for you.
Yeah, no, Adam Hergenrother started his expansion team just like you talked about. He was in Vermont, he'd saturated, and he wanted to go into other markets, and so he was one of the first expansion folks that was doing that, and went to Gary a couple of years ago and said, "I'd love to partner with you and take this to the highest level so we can have the most positive impact possible." And so Livian is a Keller Williams owned expansion team that is really kind of I think I could say it. I sound like I'm bragging, but I am like the best of KW that wants to live out the MREA model and make a positive impact in the world. And so what Livian provides, if y'all know the model, it's leads, listings, leverage, right? We all know that that's Gary's model. Well, we say it's leads, listings, Livian. Livian is the leverage for you to live out the MREA at the highest level. And so Livian's able to provide HR support and insurance and a marketing department and the bookkeeping for your business and all the leverage to execute the give model, and the whole company is operating through the care serve give model now. And so it's an exciting organization to be a part of because it is 740 some on agents who want to provide the absolute best services they possibly can for their community and make a positive impact while doing it. I chose it, honestly. There's a lot of different expansion things or partnerships out there like this. For me, I had to go back to the very beginning and realize that the impact that Gary Keller and Mo Anderson have made on my life and business, like you said, you want to help people be as transformed as possible. They've transformed my life, and I wanted to partner with Gary and Mo and Keller Williams. And that was a real big priority to me. And I'm a firm believer in the MREA, and I follow the model. And I see how Gary thinks about mindset and model and generosity, and to be able to be in business with him at even a higher level to execute this across the country. I mean, Jason Abrams called me and was like, will you help us shape the culture at Livian? And I was like, oh my God, wow. Like my love language, right? So you put all that together, and it's just, what a gift to be able to be a part of that as we're really making, I think, a huge impact within the industry. So, yeah.
I love that. It makes total sense. And yeah, like I said, this isn't to pitch for Livian. I'm not involved or affiliated with Livian. We have amazing agents and business owners within Keller Williams who've launched any number of platforms. You know, there's Place, there's Be Wealthy, there's Level 8, and many others that I'm forgetting. And so if that's something you're looking for, you know, exponential growth while offloading some of your leverage, I encourage you to look into these resources and see and have consults to see if it's a good fit for you, to see if it's the way to grow your business to the right level. And again, similar to the way KW Young Professionals or KW Clarity gets you in the room with people growing the same direction you want to grow, it's the same with these leveraging networks. And like, you know, Gary is invested in Livian, and Gary is a pretty wise person when it comes to business and a good person to have in your circle. And so if the closer you can get to people like Jason and Gary and Vanessa, you know, you're going to grow from that. So there's a lot of power in that, even just outside of your business as well. We're going to do a few rapid fire questions as we close up here, Vanessa. Okay. Give me 2 or 3 books, podcasts, or pieces of inspiration for you that keep you going throughout your daily routine.
So podcasts in the morning, I rotate between the John Mark Comer teaching, the Andy Stanley teachings, the Mel Robbins teachings. Her podcast is she's full out, and I don't curse. And she does a lot. There's a lot of profanity, so don't judge me on that one. But I love the strength and power behind her podcast. The Livian podcast is also something that just drops some major nuggets. And Empire Builders with Tiffany Fikes and Seychelle and Wendy and the ladies. That's a great one. In terms of books, I would say read The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, To Hell with the Hustle, Atomic Habits, all of the John Maxwell books. What else? The MREA every year, and your holy book. Whatever you read, keep going back to that and go back to your true north, whatever that is for you. So for me, it's the Bible. I always joke that I have two Bibles. I have God's Bible, and then I have Gary's Bible, the MREA. And if I'm plugged into both on a regular basis, then I can see the path ahead. And sometimes I can't see it, but it can allow me to take the next step in faith that I need to.
Let's say you wake up and something terrible's happened, and you just want, it's one of those days where you just want to stay in bed and curl under the covers and feel just everything is going bad around me and it's everyone else's fault. How do you snap out of that? How do you fix your mindset and reset it? What are your go-tos for something like that?
I talk to my husband, who's my biggest champion and supporter and truth teller, just has the gift of discernment and is black hat. And if you know how the people around you operate and the way they think, then you can really trust what they say when they say it. And so my husband and I will take a walk, and it's a walk and talk. And by the time we do our 3-mile loop, my head is on correct again. And then also, because we really endeavor to follow the career visioning model and make sure that we're in business with people who are fully in alignment with the culture of our team and what we stand for, like I said earlier, jumping on Zoom with the whole team every single day. I needed it today. I woke up to news about some social media stuff that just destroyed me. And it made me question so much. And I'm a huge empath, which makes this industry incredibly challenging for me, again, where the model came from. But jumping on with the team and having them encourage me and each other, we all were like, yes, we know who we are. We know what we stand for. We're going to be the light in the industry, and no one can take that away from us. Just being with the team and echoing that back to each other, I think, helped us all in a tremendous way. So again, who are the people that you're surrounding yourself with? Because that impacts the way you think 1,000%.
Yeah, I heard you verbally processing, speaking with people who you could trust to listen to you, and also moving your body, taking a walk, getting outside of your mind and letting that reconnection happen. All fantastic advice. What is a fun, quirky thing completely unrelated to business that feeds your soul? Is it going to Mexico on vacation? Is it skiing in the Alps? What is something that just is quirky to Vanessa that brings you joy?
Well, I'm a designer at heart. And so if you followed me on Instagram, you will notice that I have rearranged my front porch like 3 times in the last week with different pieces of furniture, different placement. And so I physically have to create things and design things. I just love it. And so I've worked that into my job because we now have a whole design and staging department, and I have a 5,000 square foot warehouse filled with probably 10 or 12 houses worth of furniture, and we stage all the homes. So it is business, but it is actually me that I need to move a couch. I need to hang a piece of art to feel really connected physically to the business and to myself. So I think that's a little bit quirky, that I just want to throw my hair in a ponytail and throw on jeans and go load up the truck and stage a house, is very helpful for me. And I love a good dance class. I have a BFA in dance. I, have a performance background before real estate. And so it's just awful fun to go get in a dance studio, which I haven't been able to do as much lately as I want to because of a foot injury. So I replaced that with yoga. The yoga practice is huge. So that's also not so quirky, but it's really important to me, and I get so much joy out of it. but mostly because it's these five powerful women who I get to be in community with in the yoga studio, because we have the studio. We emptied out a room in our house and we said this is now the home gym yoga studio because it was a priority for us. And they're just the most powerful, incredible women. And so getting to be with them on the regular brings me great, great joy.
I can echo the power of yoga. I'm about a year into my yoga journey and it hasn't been very consistent. And so I humbly roll out my mat and try not to compare myself to the people who are way more bendy than I am.
It is
And
a
yet
practice, my friend.
it's such a powerful thing to reconnect your mind and body. And honestly, in this business, you just need time when you can't be on your phone, and walking into that hot yoga studio and pushing my body to the limit. One of my favorite quotes about yoga is that it's a martial art that you do against yourself. And that really helped me lock in when I walk into that studio. It's me versus me. Doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. And I'm just working on just whatever my focus may be for that class that day. This is all fantastic. It sounds like you need to have your own HGTV show with your scuffed up jeans and your hair up in the ponytail when you're out designing homes. So the last question we've gotten in the chat is a great place for us to end. Spencer Dahl out of Idaho, who's launching a KWYP chapter in Idaho. So follow him. There's going to be a launch event. And Sarah Hildebrand out of San Antonio. Both love what you're sharing, and they both want to know, which is how we always end every show here. How can people follow up with you if they want to hear more? If they want to be coached by you, if that's something you offer, and you're still running a business out of the New Jersey, New York metro, how can people send you a referral? So what's the best way to be in touch with you?
So Vanessa Pollock at kw.com, pollockpropertiesgroup.com is our website. But y'all just email me and let's stay in touch. And next week in Austin, I'm running right now to a planning meeting with Mark King for the Cultural Summit. Come to the Cultural Summit. I'll be co-hosting that with Mark, and then stick around afterwards to say hi. But email me. I'd love to get in touch and stay in touch, because then I'll be able to send you recorded trainings of the entire Care, Serve, Give business model so you can implement into your own world.
Yeah. And is coaching something that you offer currently?
Not outside of my immediate world, but I think we could consider a mastermind for all the YPs nationwide.
I like the sound of that. I would love to be there or be involved in helping that happen. So, Vanessa, thank you so much for your time, for your humility, your energy, and the way you showed up today. I know you have a lot of other things to show up for in your world. You have quite a bit of things going on. I would love to connect with you next week in Austin. I look forward to that. If there's any way that we in the triangle of Raleigh-Durham can support you and your business, we'd love to. And we would love to have you back involved in the KWYP community, because you've got a lot of wisdom to give to our agents who are building big businesses like yours.
Nothing makes me happier than being here and sharing my story and my journey. Generosity is a really important thing. The first thing we can do to be generous, though, is to share what we've learned along the way with others and help them through their own journey. So thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure.
You're welcome. And I have a visitor that's popping in at just right on time for the end of this call. This is my youngest.
That's your youngest. What's your name?
She can't hear you. You're in my AirPods, but her name's Olivia, and her older sister is at gymnastics camp right now. So I'm a solo dad. My wife is coming back from the Beyonce concert in Charlotte right now. So she's done a great job.
I wish you could hear me, because I would tell her that her dad did an awesome job, is an awesome dad, and awesome leader. So let her know I said so.
That sounds great. Thank you. That's very generous of you. I appreciate that. Vanessa, I'll see you in Austin next week. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, everyone who's been on the call, and we'll see you next month on Coffee with Omega.